Hello guys, welcome to the channel here today for another video where we're going to discuss Joao Felix and how Barcelona could possibly get the best out of the player. You know that Barcelona, they managed to get the player in the final days of the transfer market on loan from Atletico Madrid, a straight loan, no buy option. And also guys, we know that the player's statement helped a lot when he stated that he wanted to play for Barcelona. That's his dream club. He wanted to make it. Like at all costs, he wanted to play for Barcelona. He had always loved Barcelona. He wanted to play for Barcelona, and the player he made a good sacrifice. He made a huge effort in order to move to Barcelona. You know that actually in terms of salary, he's just like earning almost nothing. He's earning something around 400,000 euro per year, like the whole season. That's what he's going to earn. You know that some players, they are earning like that amount of money with just a week. That was something really crazy from the player, like a great move after the statement, making that big sacrifice in order to secure the move, to realize his dream. That is something really we should applaud from those kind of players. You know that he is talented. There is no doubt about it. We talked about it a lot here on the channel about his talent, and that is something really crazy. You know that the player for the little story back in 2019. He moved from Benfica to Atletico Madrid. That was just a great move from Los Blancos for Atletico Madrid. They paid that record fee of 126 million euro for the player. Yeah, at that time he just won the Golden Boy with Benfica. It was just crazy. The player, he was just so, like, a lot of clubs wanted the player, but Atletico, they made the great move. They pay big money to get the player, but unfortunately for the player and the club, it has not really worked the way that they expected, because they are not really matched. It's like the playing style of the player and the philosophy of Cholo Simone is not the same. Like, they are thinking in different ways. They do the football that they play is not different, not the same. So the player, he struggled like 4 years with Atletico Madrid, apart from that loan deal that he had back in January last season, 6 months loan deal to Chelsea, but that also didn't go well either, because Chelsea at that time, until now, they are going through a difficult moment. Like, they had 3 coaches in just one season. That was just crazy for Chelsea. We wish them the best and hope that they get back soon at the highest level. But as of now, Joao Felix, he secured his move to Barcelona, and he is going to play under Xavi Hernandez this season. And guys, talking about Xavi, we know that Xavi, that's a big question. That was always the big question, because Xavi Hernandez, he was not really a big fan of the player. He has not really especially requested the deal. He was not really so open to the idea of getting a player like Joao Felix. He was like kind of really a bit reticent about it, but in the final days, they finally make the deal, and now we have to wait and see. We know that in the past few seasons, like last season, Xavi Hernandez, even this season, Xavi Hernandez was the man. He's the man of the power. He's the one who decides who's coming in, who's going out. He has already decided. We have seen with players with move like Andreas Christensen, Jules Koundé, Robert Lewandowski, and also Rafinha. And that was really great from Xavi. And actually, he is getting a player who is talented, but that's a player that he has not really requested. He has not really insisted on the player to get the player. But finally, if you got a player like Joao Felix in your team, that's a big addition for you. That's a big thing for you. You can rely on him on different situations. But today, guys, Xavi Hernandez, he has to deal with it, and he try to get the best out of the player. And I think there is a few positions that Xavi Hernandez can use to get the best out of this player. You know that Joao Felix, he's a kind of player who just move around the attack, and he can play in different positions as a left winger or a first number 9 or a second attacker. He can play in those different positions. That is something really interesting for Xavi Hernandez. He can get that kind of versatility and fluidity that the player can bring in, that in terms of like movement. We have seen it with Ferran Torres, and Xavi can like profit from it and get the best out of the player. And today, guys, I will mention 3 positions in which Joao Felix can help Xavi Hernandez team this season so far, maybe in LaLiga and also in the Champions League. And guys, we start with as a winger. Xavi Hernandez can deploy him as a left winger, and also he can complete the attack with Lewandowski or Lamine Yamal, or even Lewandowski and Rafinha, or it's like, it depends. But the player, he can play as a left winger. That is something really interesting. But at the position of left winger, he's not a kind of winger like Rafinha, who can, like Dembele, who's going to take the line. It's like to stay put on the line and try to to go and try to take crosses. He's not the kind of player. He's just someone who played the ball. He likes to cut inside, and he likes to cut off inside and try to liberate the space, to give space to the other player to make runs behind him. That is something that Balde can profit from, and or maybe other players like Xavi or Gundogan. You know that they like making run behind the opening defense. That is really interesting. We have seen it this season with Gundogan. He has made a lot of runs, but unfortunately they are not trying to reach him. That's a big thing, because we have seen with Guardiola at Manchester City. Gundogan, that's those kind of run he's used to make those kind of, and that give them the possibility to score goals. He has scored many goals like this and created chances that give them maybe the possibility sometimes to win the game or try to de-block it, like just to unlock the game. That is something really interesting. And Joao Felix, he can offer those kind of possibility to the players, like to give them the space behind the opening defense. That is something really interesting. So as a winger, he can do that. And also, guys, he can be deployed as the false number 9. You know that Xavi Hernandez, he like those kind of player who's like Ferran Torres used to do it. He play as a false number 9, and he come deep down and try to combine with the number 8 and the midfielder. That is something really interesting. And Joao Felix, he's very good at it, and he can give possibility to Xavi Hernandez sometimes to give Lewandowski some rest and in certain games, or even try something different. And talking about the first number 9, you cannot dissociate the first number 9 with the position of the second attacker. It's like a second striker. That is something really interesting, because when he is playing as a second attacker, that is something he's playing as a number 10, just behind Lewandowski. We have seen it with Atletico Madrid. He used to play in this kind of position with Morata, or sometimes with Griezmann. We know that Griezmann, he's the kind of player who played that position also as a second attacker. We have seen him with the French national team, also with Olivier Giroud, and that is something really interesting. And Joao Felix, he's very good at it. He can give flexibility, fluidity to the team and give them the space, create spaces, and try to. He's also the kind of player who take on the opponent on 1 versus 1. He's very talented in his dribbling, and his vision is something really extraordinary. I like the player. We have seen him these past few years with Atletico Madrid. He's just really interesting to see the way he plays. Just unfortunately for him, Atletico Madrid is not. They do not produce the kind of football that he is really looking for. That was something really difficult for him. I know that he had difficult time at Atletico Madrid, and by the way, that I think that just helped him to develop another aspect of his game, like defensive side. He's like he can defend, he can like make runs to help the defense, try to combine, try to be at the beginning of the build-up. That is something really interesting. We have seen him with his national team, the Portuguese national team also. He is really interesting. He has some interesting, incredible connection with Gonzalo Ramos, the player that just moved from Benfica to Paris Saint-Germain. That is really interesting also. And in this European qualifier, we can maybe see him try to understand more how to use him. I hope that Xavi is going to evaluate all the potential of the player, try to use them at the highest, like try to profit from it and use it in the advantage of the club. That is something really interesting. So guys, that was my point on this, and I hope that Xavi Hernandez can get the best out of the player and that can profit Barcelona and the team for the whole season. Just my only regret is that Barcelona is just a straight loan deal. We don't have any buy option clause. That is something really difficult, because after, if you get the player, you get him back to his best level and he's performing very well. Atletico Madrid, they might start thinking about asking for big money. Even if you want to get the player, he still want to stay in your club, but you have to pay big money or try to negotiate another kind of deal. And we know that Atletico Madrid, they are not the kind of team that do favor to Barcelona. It's just a shame that we don't have that buy option clause, and also for Cancelo, the same thing. Due to the FFP problem, we don't have that buy option clause. So guys, that was my point on Joao Felix. Don't forget to give me your thought down below in the comment what you think of Joao Felix, how Barcelona can possibly use him, if you know any other position in which he can play and that may be useful to the team. Just let me know that down below in the comment. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Ciao.